Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is CJP UFC Bets with Jason. Last night I did very well. I was 10-1 on my picks, 4-2 on my bets. It was a great card, if I do say so myself, for UFC Fight Night in Vegas. UFC Fight Night Vegas 62. Grasso versus Araujo. A lot of great fights, a lot of great finishes, if I do say so myself. My bet record now is 82-45 on Typology, 66% correct, and like I said, 10-1 on my picks. Just check back on my last video. I was 10-1, and I had a lot of great bets. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, it was a pretty good night for me as well. I went 5-2 on bets. I got Pereira Rodriguez by decision, Brito inside the distance, the over 2.5 in the Malkoun versus Maximov, Menafield by KO, the under 2.5 rounds in Swanson and versus Martinez. I did lose a sprinkle on Jordan Wright round 1 KO at plus 800, which it almost hit multiple times. I was counting my money in that first round, but at the end of the day, it didn't happen. And then I also lost on Cub Swanson, but I went 5-2 plus about 2 units on the night, so I will take it.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you did well. My bets that I won were the under 1.5 rounds with Serkinov Menafield with Pete Rodriguez in a parlay. Then I also won Grasso Araujo fight goes at least 2 rounds with Tatsuda Taira by submission. Alonzo Menafield Serkinov fight does not go to distance in a parlay. I won that bet. And then my awesome bet that I won was my dog of the card, Jacob Malkoun hit for me, bro. I told y'all that he was going to hit. And stay tuned for my dog of the card for this UFC 280. You're not going to want to miss that one.
Easy money.
For the best that I lost, even though I chose John Martinez to win the fight, I did bet Cub Swanson because he made weight and he looked good on the scales, but that was a bad bet on my part. A lot of good leg kicks by John Martinez that finished Cub Swanson there, and I also lost the under 1.5 rounds with Dustin Todorovic and Jordan Wright. So freaking close.
Man, we were like
that, man.
10 seconds away.
Oh, man, I was so close.
So close.
And I also had a couple bets that fell apart. I had the Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez fight that got canceled because Rodriguez pulled out. And also, Askarov didn't make weight, which also ruined my best. Such a huge, huge disappointment on Askarov.
It really was.
Shame on you, Askarov.
Make your weight. Be a professional.
But that's okay because like I said, I had 10 picks correct, only 1 wrong. And now we keep rolling with UFC 280. Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev for the vacant lightweight championship of the world. Cannot wait. Such a huge stacked card. Oh, man, I have a lot of great bets for this. I can't wait to break it down with you, Jason.
Let's go. Card of the year.
But before that, I want to have a huge, huge shout out to all of our subscribers, all of our listeners, all of our viewers. Over 800 views on our second video ever. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we hope you keep watching our stuff. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you tune in to all of our videos. Thank you.
Yes, also, thank you very much.
Yes, and also a huge shout out to Cody from Blood Money MMA Bets and Johnny K Picks. You guys gave me the motivation to do this, so thank you for that as well. Go check them out. All right, let's go on to the UFC 280. Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev at Abu Dhabi. It's such an early card.
Yeah, let's shout that out too. So don't be caught sleeping. The card starts at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Keep that in mind, people. Wake up, have your coffee, have a wake and bake, whatever you want to do, and enjoy some fights.
Yes, sir. So the first fight on the card scheduled for UFC 280 is in the women's bantamweight division. On the prelims for the first fight, We have Lina Länsberg versus Karol Rosa. Lina Länsberg is 10-6, 40 years old, 5'7", with a 65.5-inch reach. Then we have Karol Rosa. She is 15-4, 27 years old, 5'5", with a 67.5-inch reach. For both women are coming off losses. For Lina Länsberg, she's got good striking, she's got very good Muay Thai skills, she's got a very good clinch, and works her elbows and knees very well. Her only downfall is that her ground game isn't that very good. She can't defend a takedown, and she has pretty bad takedown defense. She's also on a 2-fight losing streak, which worries me. For Karol Rosa, she's got very good volume, has decent striking, and a very come forward fighter who has solid takedown defense and offense. But she hates being in a dirty fight, especially when a girl is in the pocket with her trading shots. I would bet the over 2.5 rounds here. If I were you, that's a safe bet in my eyes because none of these girls are finishers. And I got Karol Rosa by decision. What about you, man?
Yeah, the first thing that jumps off the page immediately is Lina Länsberg at 40 years old. Karol Rosa will be 13 years younger at only 27. Lina Länsberg will have a 2-inch height advantage, but a 2-inch reach disadvantage. She has okay takedown defense if it's along the fence, but in general, I don't rate her takedown defense very good at all. Once Lina gets taken down, she doesn't have much off her back. She doesn't have great get-ups. She does have decent sub-defense, so I will give her that. If Lina happens to get on top, which doesn't happen very often, she does throw some decent ground and pound, and she has some good elbows when they are in the clinch. As for Karol Rosa, if she gets taken down, which I don't expect to happen in this fight, all she really does is hold her opponent down to minimize damage and try to get the fight stood up. I don't think the fight's going to play out there, at least with Lina on top. I can see Rosa going out there and getting some takedowns, because I feel like that would be the easiest path to victory for her. See, Karol has some good hands. She's got some good volume. She likes to pump her jab out there. She has a very nice counter left hook, good strong clinch knees, good leg kicks, and good checks when her opponents try to kick her. She has good cardio, and as I said before, Rosa has some pretty nice takedowns herself and good ground control. At the end of the day, I am picking Karol Rosa by decision. As you said, that over 2.5 fight goes to decision. Safe bets, in my opinion.
Very, very well. I love that bet, man. I might even bet that in a parlay piece, depending on the number. I'm assuming it's going to be in the minus 250 range.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, minus 250, minus 300.
All right, so let's move on to the next fight on the card. And it's in the men's flyweight division. We have Muhammad Mokaev versus Malcolm Gordon. Muhammad Mokaev is undefeated, 7-0, 22 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach. For Malcolm Gordon, he is 14-5, 32 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach. Both men are on a 2-fight winning streak, and one of them must go back to the losing column, unfortunately. For Mokaev, he's got very good dominant wrestling, very good grappling. He has very good pressure on the ground, has very good composure while fighting, and looks very comfortable while fighting in the octagon. And he's only been in the UFC less than a year. He is very durable and tough, and just never lets go of those takedowns. Only thing with Mokaev is he has very low volume. But he attempts several takedowns, and if he gets you on the ground, you are not getting back up. For Gordon, he is a BJJ black belt with solid technical striking. He's got a pretty high striking guard and likes to come forward. He's got subpar takedowns and likes to attempt submissions while on the ground if he gets the chance. Mokaev is gonna win this fight, man. He's just gonna win this fight. He is one of my confident picks on this card. 95% that he's gonna win this fight. Um, it's gonna be tough for Gordon to keep up with him in the wrestling department. And for me, Mokaev by decision.
Yeah. So in this fight, both fighters have identical heights. Mokaev will be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage, which I don't think matters at all in this fight. Mokaev will be 10 years younger at only 22 years old, so he's still a very young kid. He has good forward pressure. He has some good punches on the feet, not the most volume, though. Mokaev is a primary wrestler, as we saw in his last fight with Charles Johnson. He's stuck to Johnson like glue. He'll grab that body lock. He'll hold on to you. He'll take you down over and over all fight long. His cardio checks out as well. As for Malcolm Gordon, I'm just going to start off by saying Gordon is extremely chinny. He's been knocked out 4 times and has been rocked in just about every other one of his fights. Surprisingly, Gordon actually has some decent hands, pretty fast punches. But for the most part, he wants to get the fight down to the ground. He has some good subs. He has won 11 out of his 14 fights inside the distance. And 100% of his losses have been inside the distance as well. He doesn't have great wrestling, and if Gordon gets taken down, there's a very good chance he is not getting back up. So the prediction, it's pretty obvious, is going to be Mokaev. Mokaev has the advantage on the feet and on the mat. So I can't fully decide here if I want to take Mokaev by KO, knowing how chinny Gordon is, or if I want to go decision. As of right now, I'll go Mokaev decision.
Very good bet right there. I am planning on betting Mokaev in one of my parlays, even though he's such a huge favorite. Last week, I did Pete Rodriguez, and you guys said, oh, he's such a huge favorite, no value there. But he hit for me, so Mokaev is going on my parlays too.
Hey, man, if it hits, it has value.
All right, let's move on to the next fight on this card for the prelims. In the men's middleweight division, we have Armen Petrosyan versus AJ Dobson. Armen Petrosyan is 6'2", 31 years old, 6'3", with a 71-inch reach. Then we have AJ Dobson. He is 6'1", 30 years old, 6'1", with a 76-inch reach. For Petrosyan, he has pretty decent striking, pretty good boxing. He can get into brawls at times and relies on his chin. Very gritty fighter with a decent power in his hands, has pretty decent getup and good submissions as well. For Dobson, he has very fast hands with a ton of power. He's got very fast knees, fast kicks, throws a lot of good combos when moving forward, and he's got decent wrestling with decent top control. Another good fight here for however it lasts. I truly believe somebody will get finished in this fight. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wanted to pick AJ Dobson here because he's such a good dog, but my gut is telling me to go with Armen Petrosyan by submission. What about you?
Okay, yeah. So Armen will have a 2-inch height advantage, but he's going to be at a 5-inch reach disadvantage. I think that's huge. He doesn't have good takedown defense at all, but he does have some decent get-ups at times. He has very good, fast, powerful hands, good kicks to the body and head. He has a chin, but he has very poor striking defense. Armen will pump his jab out all fight. Cardio seems okay. If he gets taken down and gets his back taken, he'll be in that position the rest of the fight. There's just no getting out of that for him. As for AJ Dobson, his striking seems to be improving. Because on the Contender Series, he hit very hard, but he had no technique. He was just rushing in, winging hooks. He had no head movement. But 5 months later, he fought Jacob Malkoun. His striking looked a lot more controlled. He threw some fast, straight 1-2s down the middle. The wrestler Jacob Malkoun was getting through with some decent jabs because Dobson doesn't have great striking defense either. So this fight is very, very close. Both guys are hittable. Both guys hit very hard. But honestly, the fact that Petrosyan doesn't have any takedown defense, if Dobson's cardio checks out, I feel like Dobson can take advantage of that. The striking is almost even. I give it to Petrosyan, but because of that takedown upside, I think I'm going to take the dog and AJ Dobson in this one.
I was going back and forth on this fight so much.
Same. At first, I was like, no, this is going to be Armen all day. Then I got into tape, and I'm like, man, I don't know. Now, I don't know if I'm going to bet this fight, just for clarity. For the sake of the show, I'm picking the dog.
Yeah, I was going to go with AJ Dobson at first. I really did pick him, but then I rewatched the tape, and I said, I don't know, man. I think Armen might take this, but it's going to be a close fight, and I wouldn't bet it, but I would bet the over, though. All
Yeah,
right.
it's going to be very close.
Let's go on to the next fight on this card for UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev. Still on the prelims. There's a lot of fights on this card, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a lot. So stay with us.
3 days of studying for this card. And I might butcher these fighters' names because I'll try my best. But it's in the men's welterweight division. We have Abubakar Nurmagomedov versus Gadzhi Omargadzhiev. We have Nurmagomedov, 16-3, 32 years old, 5'11 with a 73-inch reach. And then we have Gadzhi, 13-1, 29 years old, 6'1 with a 71.5-inch reach. Another close fight that I was going back and forth on. But let's get to the breakdown. Nurmagomedov, he's got very good takedowns and good top control. He's got pretty decent striking, but can get too confident with his hands. Has pretty good grappling, good ground game. He's always throwing single leg and double leg takedowns with good pressure. For Gadzhi, he's got okay boxing, decent striking, and also has really good power in his hands. He's got very good wrestling, good takedowns, and very good transitions on the ground. Loves to ground and pound his opponents. Also has pretty good submissions and good cardio. Very close fight, like I said. I was going back and forth. I was going to pick Gadzhi, but I got to respect the Nurmagomedov name. We all know that they're all pretty good wrestlers, and I believe that he's got the wrestling advantage in this fight. I would bet the 2.5. I will not bet this fight straight up because such a close fight, but I got Nurmagomedov by decision. What about you, man?
Yeah, so Nurmagomedov is 2 inches shorter, but he is going to have a half-inch reach advantage. And I think that is decently important in this fight because he's used to going up against people with a much bigger reach advantage than him. And in this fight, he actually has the half-inch reach advantage. In this fight, of course, he has the wrestling, but he could also utilize his stand-up. And I just want to mention Khabib will be in his corner. He has a decent jab that he throws out there a good amount. He has decent power in both hands, has some good low kicks, seems to have a really good chin. Pretty good at landing and then sliding out of the way to avoid punches coming back at him. And he actually really impressed me with the stand-up in his fight against Jared Gooden. He has some good takedowns and good top control. Then we move on to Gadzhi. He has good wrestling of his own. He has decent top control, looks to counterpunch, has a good hard right hand, but in general, I don't think his striking is that great. If he gets his back taken, then he'll be there all fight. but he does have some pretty good sub defense. This fight, as you said, it's very close. It is very, very close, but at the end of the day, I'm going Nurmagomedov. Both fighters have good wrestling, but I just think Nurmagomedov's striking is the difference maker here. And I also think he has the better wrestling in general. So Nurmagomedov, by decision, is going to be my final pick.
Very good pick, and another very good bet right there if you decide to bet the over 2.5. So let's go on to the next fight on UFC 280. Still in the prelims here. In the men's lightweight division, we have Yamato Nishikawa versus Magomed Mustafaev. Yamato is 21-3, 19 years old, 5'7", and there is no reach available for him on Typology. I mean, we have Magomed Mustafaev. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. 14-4, 34 years old, 5'8", with a 71-inch reach. For Yamato, he's a very young prospect, and he's sort of unproven, to be honest. Didn't have much tape to really study, and he seems like a bright star, bright future ahead of him. For what I only saw 2 fights on YouTube from him, and from what I've seen, he's got solid KO power. He's got some submissions from what I've seen, and he's making his debut on the UFC. So we'll see how he does on a pay-per-view card here against Mustafaev. He's got a good amount of UFC experience under his belt. Solid striking with decent KO power. Has decent stand-up. Looks for the kill when he sees you hurt on the feet. He's good everywhere, but not great anywhere. One thing about him is that he's very tough, and he's fought the tougher competition without a doubt. And that's why I'm going with Magomed by decision. Maybe a KO. I do see that. Just because of the experience that he has inside the UFC. What do you have in this fight?
Yamato has 30 pro fights, and he is only 19 years old. That is crazy. He had his first pro fight back in 2016 when he was 13 years old. What were you doing at 13? I guarantee it wasn't fighting professionally. That is crazy to me. He'll go for Imanari rolls. He'll even pull guard. His wrestling doesn't look very good, but he'll do whatever he can to get the fight to the ground, or he'll just take your back standing. He likes to fight off his back. He'll throw punches from the bottom. I even saw him throw an up kick to a grounded opponent, which I guess is legal in Shooto, but he's got to watch out for that in the UFC. He's got decent straight 1-2s. He likes to throw a front kick to the face, which I actually seen him land quite a bit in tape. He's willing to brawl, and he can get clipped and knocked out, which I don't love that about him. He hasn't been knocked out since he was a 15-year-old kid, but hey, man, now he's a 19-year-old man, you know? As for Magomed, he is 15 years older at 34 years old. He hasn't fought in 2 years and 7 months after his last split decision loss to Brad Riddell. That is a long layoff, and I don't like that. He has some good power in his hands and kicks. He likes to do spinning attacks, which could lead him to get taken down like we saw in the Kevin Lee fight. But Magomed is strong, and he has some good get-ups. But he did show very poor takedown defense in that Kevin Lee fight. It seems like Magomed is going to have the strength advantage here. So he might go for his own takedowns like we did see in the Brad Riddell fight. And I don't love the line here. We got Magomed at minus 550. I don't I don't think Magomed should be minus 550 against anybody because he's not that great. He's very low volume. But again, he's facing a 19-year-old kid, and honestly, at first, I was about to come on here, tell you guys to hit that plus 400 because I think Yamato has a really good chance here. But I feel like the strength is gonna be too much. So at the end of the day, I suppose I'm picking Magomed. Absolutely no bet for me. I am not parlaying him. I will just watch. And at the end, honestly, I am rooting for Yamato. I think this kid has a very, very good future.
As I
But the
said,
pick,
yes.
yeah, exactly. And the pick is Magomed, just to clarify.
Yeah, I'm not betting this fight at all. Not the over, not the under. I'm just gonna watch it as a fan and enjoy that fight.
Oh, yeah.
If Yamato wins, then I'm wrong. That's fine, and that's cool for me. But that's a good analogy right there. I didn't know that he hasn't been knocked out since 15 years old. That's crazy.
15. That is.
Yeah, I was like,
I can't get over the age, man. Like 13 having your first fight. Oh, man.
that's insane.
It
All
really
right,
is.
let's go to the next fight on this card for UFC 280. Still in the prelims for the men's featherweight division. We have Zubaira Tukhugov versus Lucas Almeida. For Zubaira, he's 20-5, 31 years old, 5'8" with a 68-inch reach. Then we have Lucas Almeida, 14-1, 31 years old, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. For Tukhugov, he's got very good grappling and good wrestling. He is a come forward fighter and loves to chase takedowns with decent pressure, and he's got decent ground game with slick submissions. For Almeida, he is a very powerful striker who likes to throw combos at his opponents, loves to come forward and throws big, heavy rights to sting his opponents. He's got okay ground game, decent takedown defense, but he's primarily a striker who loves to go for a finish in every single fight. This should be a very fun fight for her, however long it lasts, just like the last fight that I mentioned a couple fights ago. Another banger. Under 2.5 rounds is my bet for this fight. And I love the dog here. I'm going with the dog, Lucas Almeida, which I have a bet on. I was supposed to save that for later, but I help myself. No, that's not my dog of the card. That is
There you
not
go. All right.
the card. But I did make a bet on Lucas Almeida at plus 125. What do you have for this fight, my friend?
I
Oh,
honestly,
wait. By KO, by the way.
yeah. So we got Tukhugov. He is 3 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage in this fight. He's low volume, but has decent power in his hands. He's a good counter puncher, good forward pressure, and he has some pretty good takedowns. Lucas Almeida, he has 100% finish rate. He has good fast punches with a ton of power, strong low kicks. Almeida can be taken down, but he does have some pretty good get-ups. I don't have too much more to say about this fight. I am picking Lucas Almeida as another dog for me, and I'm going to pick Almeida by KO as well.
I think he gets it done, man.
Yeah.
He's got really good power in his hands, and I just think he's gonna connect with the trend and knock his ass out.
Yeah, to me, Tukhugov just doesn't shoot enough takedowns for me to be worried about it. So give me Almeida, give me that dog.
Let's go. Yes. All right. Let's move on to the next fight on this card. And it's in the men's light heavyweight division. And yes, we are still on the prelims.
Gonna be here for a while.
All right. The next fight is Volkan Oezdemir versus Nikita Krylov. Volkan Oezdemir, 18-6, 33 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach. We have Nikita Krylov, 28-9, 30 years old, 6'3", with a 77.5-inch reach. For Oezdemir, he's got very good boxing with pretty decent power in his hands. He has very forward pressure style and throws heavy hands with pretty good volume. He's got a very good chin and pretty good pretty bad takedown defense, and no ground game whatsoever. For Nikita Krylov, he's a very well-rounded fighter with pretty decent wrestling and striking. He's got good forward pressure, mixes his punches and kicks very well, and also has very solid takedowns and just a tough fighter that likes to come forward. My pick for this fight is Nikita Krylov by a decision. I just think Krylov is a bit underrated, falls under the radar, and I like him on the spot. Oezdemir didn't look too good in his last win to me. He looked a little bit slow, and I don't know. He just didn't look too good, even though he won. I would bet the over in this fight, over 1.5, over 2.5, depending on the number. But I'm going with Krylov by decision. What about you?
Oezdemir has a 1-inch height disadvantage and a 2.5-inch reach disadvantage. He is also 3 years older. He has power in both hands, lots of forward pressure. He's got pretty good takedown defense, short elbows and knees in the clinch. He is a bit hittable, though. He does have good heavy leg kicks, but he has some trouble when his opponent is faster than he is. Now, Krylov, he likes to chain his takedown attempts together, but he isn't the best at getting the fight to the ground. He likes to punch his way into the pocket to go for those takedowns. He does have some pretty heavy hands. He likes to throw this body kick followed up immediately by nice straight punches. He has a good chin. I think he's overall just going to be faster. He has better movements. I think he might out volume Oezdemir. Um, Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov by decision. I think he can get those takedowns. He can out volume him. He can just kind of dance around the cage. Oezdemir might not even be able to catch him. So Krylov by decision.
I love that bet, man. I have that as well. Think that we're doing so good so far. We've been agreeing on most of the fights here.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next fight on the card. Still in the prelims. I believe this is the second to last fight on the prelims here, according to
Yep.
typology. And it's in the men's middleweight division. We have Makhmud Muradov versus Caio Borralho. Makhmud Muradov is 25-7, 32 years old, 6'2", with a 75.5-inch reach. Then we have Caio Borralho, 12-1, 29 years old, 5'10", with a 75-inch reach. For Muradov, he's got very good striking with pretty solid power in his hands. He's got pretty solid boxing, good cardio, pretty decent wrestling, and good takedown defense. Also, he's got good grappling and just overall, he's an overall pretty well-rounded fighter, if I would say. For Borralho, he has very solid submissions and pretty good grappling. He's got a very long stance and is very loose on his feet with very good takedowns. He's got very solid jiu-jitsu skills, and he applies that throughout the fight. Also, he throws very good kicks to the head and the body. I truly believe somebody will be stopped in this fight. This fight will not go the distance. My pick, semi-confident pick, is Caio Borralho by submission, specifically in the second round. What about you, Jason?
So Makhmud, he's gonna have a 4-inch height advantage with a 1/2-inch reach advantage. He's also 3 years older. He has good fast hands, good movement, and will just dance around the octagon. Good takedown defense, strong hips when he sprawls. Now in that fight with Gerald Mearshart, he went for the kill in round 1 and he tired himself out, and he did allow Mearshart to get that rear naked choke, which I don't love because Borralho loves going for that rear naked. He just locks in that body triangle and nobody can get out of it. Now with Borralho, he's got fast hands, fast kicks, straight hard punches down the middle. He is low volume though. He does have good control when he does get the takedown. As I already said, he loves taking the back and locking in the body triangle. He usually doesn't get the sub, though, at least in the UFC so far. Now, honestly, to me, this is a pretty close fight, and I went back and forth on it a little bit, but I think I am going to take the dog again. And Muradov, I think he has a pretty clear advantage on the feet, and if he can use that good takedown defense, keep it on the feet, if he has his cardio in check, I think he's a good dog here at plus 175. Now, I don't know if I'm going to bet it, but I am going to take him as a dog for my pick.
Very interesting pick there, my friend, and another nice breakdown from you. Kind of agree with some of it, just not the pick. Let's move on to the featured. Finally, we are here at the featured prelim for UFC 280, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. Featured prelim in the men's welterweight division. Very excited to watch this fight. I love both fighters. And let's go forward with this. It's going to be Belal, remember the name, Muhammad versus Sean Brady. We have Belal Muhammad, 21-3, 34 years old, 5'11 with a 72-inch reach. Then we have Sean Brady, undefeated at 15-0, 29 years old, 5'10 with a 72.5-inch reach. Both fighters are very similar. This is going to be a very good matchup here. For Belal Muhammad, he's got very high level ring IQ. He has very good wrestling, a very good ground game, very good grappling, and he has cardio for days. He's got very solid takedowns with decent striking, very great composure, and grind out his opponents if he gets top control. For Sean Brady, he has very good wrestling, very good grappling. He has very decent striking with legit power in his hands. He throws spinning attacks often and also throws bombs. Not to mention, also has decent cardio and a tough fighter to put out. That's why he's undefeated. This fight is definitely going over the 2.5. I don't see any of these guys finishing each other. The bet to make is over 2.5, and I'm going with the dog here. Not my dog of the card, but my dog of the card is coming up soon. Belal Muhammad by decision. Very, very close fight, though. What about you, Jason?
Belal, he's got really good entries to his takedowns. And even if he doesn't get that first attempt, he'll chain a few takedowns together and he will eventually get you down. And if he doesn't, he'll just hold you along the fence and keep working that takedown. When he does get you down, he's got good top control when he does actually secure the position. He's got decent ground and pound. He's got good cardio, as you said, cardio for days. He's got good movement on the feet, and he's got some pretty good punches. Belal really impressed me when he faced Luque in his last fight. He beat him on the feet and took him down at will, and I think that's extremely impressive. Sean Brady, he's got some pretty good punches on the feet. He doesn't have the best entries for his takedowns, but he does look strong when he does get a hold of you. He'll just pick you up and dump you. He doesn't have the greatest top control. When he does get on top, he doesn't really do much. He doesn't have the greatest ground and pound. He does go for quite a few subs, so I'll give him that, but I don't think that's going to cause Belal too many problems. The prediction for this is going to be Belal Muhammad by decision. Belal will have the advantage on the feet. Brady's got good takedown defense, but he really hasn't been tested that much in the UFC with takedowns. And I just think Belal, he's got very, very good entries and good cardio, better on the feet. Give me Belal, and I will be betting him after this stream.
I already bet him
There you
last
go.
night. As soon as UFC Vegas 62 was over, I placed a bet on Belal Muhammad at plus 115. I believe that's what I got him at.
There you go. We can, just to shout it out, Belal Muhammad on Bet Online is plus 131 right now, if anyone's interested.
There you go, folks. If you want to go tell us, wouldn't recommend it, but 10-1, yeah, 10-1. But I wouldn't recommend telling us, but I am betting Belal Muhammad for this fight by decision. Let's finally move on to the main card.
We made
it. UFC 280. We finally made it. Stacked card right here, folks. We hope you enjoy the show so far. We hope you enjoy the breakdowns. Subscribe to the video. CJP UFC Bets with Jason. Make sure to like us, and we thank you for all your support. UFC 280, Charles Oliveira versus Makhachev for the vacant lightweight championship of the world. We are on to the main card in the women's flyweight division. We have Caitlin Chookagian versus Manon Fiorot. For Caitlin Chookagian, she is 18-4, 33 years old, 5'9" with a 68-inch reach. And for Manon Fiorot, she is 9-1, 32 years old, 5'7" with a 66-inch reach. For Chookagian, she has pretty decent ones and twos, who stays busy on her feet. She has decent striking and good grappling with solid cardio, and tries to out-decision her opponents in all of her fights. For Fiorot, she has pretty good striking with finishing power in her hands, very, very good power. Throws everything with intent to hurt her opponents. She has decent get-up game if she gets taken down. She likes to fight at range and pick her shots with a decent amount of volume. She also has pretty solid takedown defense. Both girls are super tough, but I think with Fiorot's power, it's going to be too much for Chookagian, and that's why I'm picking Fiorot by KO in this fight, but I'm not betting this fight. No women's bets, no more.
Yeah, Fiorot, she's gonna have a 2-inch height disadvantage and a 2-inch reach disadvantage. She has good movement on the feet. She throws this nasty side kick to the body, which she hits every time. It hits very hard. She also throws that same side kick to the leg, like right above the knee. And if you remember that last Khalil Roundtree fight when he threw that and he basically broke, I'm forgetting his opponent's name, but Khalil Roundtree actually ended the fight with that same kick to the knee. Fiorot, she has fast, hard punches, and she sometimes goes for takedowns, and she gets them at a decent clip. Caitlin Chookagian, she has a decent front push kick, which she throws a lot. She has nice 1-2s. She's good at getting in and out of the pocket with her punches. Chookagian, she could potentially go in for her own takedowns like we did see in the Maya fight. Chookagian, she has some good boxing, but it seems like she'll be at a speed disadvantage to Manon. Caitlin can be taken down and held down for a couple minutes like we seen in the Ribas fight. She got held down for 2 minutes in the first round and then another minute in the second round. Now, I came into this fight thinking Chookagian was going to be my dog of the card. That's what I was thinking the whole time. And then I dug into some tape, and I think I flipped back to Manon Fiorot. I don't think she gets the knockout. I do think it's going to be a pretty close decision. And if you're looking for a sneaky bet, I would, if your book has it, because not all books have it, I would look at the split decision prop. You can usually get it at like plus 400 or more. You don't even have to pick a side. Just if this fight goes to split decision, you win. And I can seriously see that happening. But at the end of the day, Fiorot by decision is my pick.
Very nice. I like that. And another nice insider tip right there with the split decision. Might look at that since you mentioned that now.
I think it's a pretty solid play. We'll see, though.
All right, let's move on to the next fight on the card for UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev. It's in the men's lightweight division. Very excited to watch this fight because I like both fighters. And the fighters are Benil Dariush versus Matus Gamrot. We have Benil Dariush, 21-4, 33 years old, 5'10 with a 72-inch reach. Then we have Matus Gamrot. He is 21-1, 31 years old, 5'10 with a 70.5-inch reach. For Dariush, he's coming off a pretty long layoff, hasn't fought in a year. But with that being said, he's got pretty good wrestling, very solid grappling, and very good scrambles. He's got very solid submissions, pretty good striking with some sneaky power in his hands, believe it or not. He's got pretty solid cardio and pretty solid ground game as well. For Gamrot, he has very good wrestling with very good takedowns and good takedown defense. He's got solid striking with a diverse set of attacks. He has also very fast and very athletic, and improving in each and every single one of his fights. This should be a great fight. Two top contenders here. I expect the winner out of this to either be in the title contention or in the title picture somehow, some way. But ultimately, I'm going with Matus Gamrot, either by KO or submission. I do see that happening here. What about you, Jason?
Benil Dariush is going to be 2 years older, and he's going to have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. Sorry. He has good body kicks, has good hands, not the most power, but he does, like you said, have some sneaky power. He sometimes gets engaged in a war, which I don't love because Dariush doesn't have the best chin. He does have some really nice clinch knees, as we saw in that Holtzman fight. He hit him with a beautiful knee right up the middle, directly to his chin in the first round, almost got him out of there. Dariush has some pretty nice takedowns. If he doesn't get the initial takedown, he'll stay on you and he'll try to trip you up along the fence to get you down. But as the fight goes longer, his takedowns do get sloppier. For Gamrot, he's got good low kicks, he's got good movement on the feet, pretty fast hands, good counter puncher, fast entries to his takedowns, but he doesn't have the best top control. He likes to dive into a single leg, and if he doesn't get that, he'll grab the body lock and try to get you down that way. He has very good takedown defense, and he has very good scrambles. Now, this fight, it's so close. It's very, very close to me. And I see this going to decision personally. And since it's going to be a very close fight, I'm going to deem it a dog or pass situation. I think Dariush will have the forward pressure, and I think he'll have more volume on the feet. So give me Dariush at that plus money. I don't know if I'm going to bet it yet. I might get there by fight time, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was going back and forth a little bit on this fight, but Gamrot has been impressing me his last few fights. I do think that he gets the finish, if not the decision. Either way, I think he wins the fight. But man, I am making
It's
me right.
close. It is so close. Makes me not want to bet it because of how close it is.
Maybe I'll just watch it as a fan and take my bet.
It's going to be a good fight, so it's a good one to just sit back and watch.
All right, let's move on to the next fight, which I'm very excited for. Love both fighters here. This whole card is so stacked. I love it. I love UFC 280. I can't wait to watch it. UFC 280. The next fight would be in the men's bantamweight division with Petrosyan versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. Petrosyan is 16-3, 29 years old, 5'7 with a 67-inch reach. Then we have Sean O'Malley, 15-1, 27 years old, 5'11 with a 72-inch reach. That kind of worries me here. Let's just get to the breakdown. Petrosyan, he's a very slow starter, but he has very good boxing and strong leg kicks. He's got very good striking with solid takedown defense. He likes to come forward with good Muay Thai skills. Also, he's got very good wrestling and good takedowns, just very tough and very durable. For Sean O'Malley, he's a very long and rangy fighter, and he throws pretty solid jabs. He has a high volume of strikes with good power in his hands, very agile and athletic. He's got very accurate punches with solid footwork and good counters. He also has decent leg kicks and good sneaky spinning attacks that he throws in his fights. I love both fighters here. Sean O'Malley has a huge height advantage, a huge reach advantage. He was gonna be my dog of the card. I have so many dogs that I wanted to be dog of the card, but I gotta go with Peter Yan, man. I'm sorry, because the leg kicks are what worries me here with Sean O'Malley. We've seen Sean O'Malley in the past struggle with leg kicks, so that's why I'm picking Peter Yan here to finish Sean O'Malley possibly, but I'm going to Peter Yan in this fight. What about you, man?
Yeah, Jan will be at a 4-inch height disadvantage and a 5-inch reach disadvantage, which that is pretty much the only thing that worries me in this fight is the 5-inch reach disadvantage. Jan, he's a slow starter. He drops the first round in just about every single fight. He picks it up as the fight goes on, as we all see. Jan has good forward pressure, good cardio, good leg and body kicks, fast, powerful hands. We will see if O'Malley's leg will hold up with these strong leg kicks from Jan. It's going to be interesting. It really is. Everything Jan throws is very hard and with great technique. He has decent movement at times, but honestly, he tends to stand in the same place a little bit too much. As for Sean O'Malley, he has some pretty good movement on the feet. He throws a front kick to the body with both legs a lot because he switches stances. He's just now like in the last fight he just had with Pedro Munoz. He checked a decent amount of those calf kicks, but a lot of them still got through. So at least he's learning to check the calf kicks. That's something. O'Malley has a lot of feints. Good with both stances. He has fast, straight punches. He doesn't wind up on his punches, so there's no telegraph. He kind of just throws them out there. Doesn't have the most power, honestly, even though I know he has a bunch of knockouts. But he usually has good volume when he usually has good volume, but when he got a step up in competition against Pedro, his volume just wasn't as high as in other fights, which could be a big problem here. He's going to need that volume, especially in that first and second round, in order to win this fight. Sean needs to pick up that first round, and then he needs the second to be close. He's losing that third round to Jan. I think that's a given. I came into this fight just like you, thinking I was gonna have a solid underdog on O'Malley, especially at those odds. But after tape, I gotta go Jan. I think his power is gonna win him this fight. I can't decide between KO or decision, just mainly because of those leg kicks. I think I'll go decision, but the pick is Jan. I think he's an okay parlay piece. I just don't know if I'll get there myself with it.
I agree there. I might just bet the over here.
Yeah, over
Yeah.
2.5 seems good.
All right, let's move on to the next fight on the card, which is the co-main event of the evening, scheduled for the UFC Bantamweight Championship of the World between TJ Dillashaw going against the UFC Bantamweight Champion Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain Sterling, he is 21-3, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 71-inch reach. Then we have TJ Dillashaw, 17-4, 36 years old, 5'6", with a 67-inch reach. For Aljamain Sterling, he has decent wrestling with solid takedowns. He's got pretty good grappling skills and is a rangy and long fighter who uses his range very well. He's got pretty decent kicks with a decent amount of volume. He also has pretty good footwork that he uses throughout the fight pretty effectively. Not to mention, Sterling has a pretty good guard, and doesn't get hit very much. He doesn't take a lot of damage in his fights. For TJ Dillashaw, another guy who hasn't been very active as of late. Hasn't fought in a year, which raises a red flag to me. But the guy has very good wrestling, good takedowns, has a ton of power in his hands with solid striking. He never stops moving with pretty good footwork, and he kind of reminds me of Dominic Cruz with his footwork, to be honest. He also has good cardio and is as tough as they come. My pick for this fight, just because of the layoff, I'm going with Aljamain Sterling, either by submission or a decision. Should be a close fight between these two. TJ Dillashaw is very tough, but that layoff does worry me here because Aljamain Sterling is he's a little bit underrated in my eyes just because of what happened between him and Peter Yan. So let me get Aljamain Sterling to retain his belt by decision or submission. What do you got here?
So Aljo is going to have the 1 inch height advantage with a 4 inch reach advantage. Aljo has good movement. He's got good body kicks. Doesn't have the most power in his hands, but he does have a decent jab that he'll throw out there a lot. He'll go for takedowns, but he doesn't have the best wrestling. His takedown accuracy is sitting at 21%. He does have good back takes. He has a strong body lock once it's locked in. Not too many people can get out of that. TJ Dillashaw, he is a 36-year-old bantamweight. That jumps off the page immediately. But he's got good forward pressure. He darts in, throws his punches. He doesn't have the most power behind them, but they're still good punches. He holds his hands low, which leaves him open to be hit. But he does have some decent head movement. He's got good leg kicks, good cardio. He doesn't have the best takedowns, but he does go for them a good amount every fight. This is another fight, man, that I was going back and forth. It's going to be another really close fight. At first, I was pre-tape, I was all over Dillashaw. And now I don't know. I don't know. I'm not betting this fight. I'm going to say that straight up. For the sake of the show, I'm going to pick another dog. Another dog. I know it seems like I'm just chasing these dogs, but I think I'm going to go TJ Dillashaw. It's going to be another very close fight. So again, I'm going to deem it as a dog or pass. I think Dillashaw's forward pressure and good takedown defense will eventually tire Aljo out. And we'll see Dillashaw cruise to a decision.
I like that. I like that. It'll be a close fight, like I said. I do have a bet on this fight, and I will reveal our bets at the end of the video. Also, stay tuned for our dogs of the card and our locks of the card, as we did last video. Stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the video, and we thank you for your support. Now, it is time.
It's time
for the main event of the evening for UFC 280, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev for the vacant UFC lightweight championship of the world. Let's get to it right now. For Charles Oliveira, my dude got robbed for the lightweight championship of the world due to some weight controversy. What a shame. I think it was like half a pound, something.
It was, yeah.
So
and
ridiculous.
apparently he hit weight on the backstage scale, but for the official weigh-in was a half pound off. So I guess do with that what you will.
I guess he breathed in some air when he went to the scales and he gained half a pound. So who knows? But for Charles Oliveira, he's a very well-rounded fighter who has really good BJJ skills. He has pretty solid striking with decent power in his hands. He's got very good kicks, really good submissions anywhere the fight goes. He also has a very solid ground game and a ton of experience who has fought the tougher competition inside the UFC, in my opinion. For Islam Makhachev, he's got a really good winning streak heading into this fight with Khabib in his corner and calls himself the uncrowned champion. He is relentless with his takedowns and has great wrestling with good submissions, very aggressive and very good grappling. He also has he also is very well composed when fighting and has excellent ground game. Also has solid striking with decent hands. The only problem with Makhachev is he's pretty low volume, but fighters can't seem to solve the puzzle that is Islam Makhachev. This is the moment that we truly been waiting for, folks. My pick for this fight, Charles Oliveira by KO or submission. Bank on it. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, so we got Islam coming in with a 3.5-inch reach disadvantage in this fight. In Islam's last two fights, he faced Dan Hooker and Bobby Green. Both guys stepped in on short notice. Hooker stepped in with 1 month notice, so I guess that's a decent amount of time. It's still not a full camp, though. Bobby Green stepped in on 10 days' notice. He did sub both guys, which are decent wins, but again, neither guy had a full camp. Everyone knows that Islam has great takedowns and good top control. He has pretty good ground and pound. Islam has good forward pressure, but doesn't have much to offer on the feet. He just doesn't throw anything. He has good takedown defense sitting at 88%. He has good cardio, and Islam has good striking defense. But I feel like that's mostly because his opponents don't want to throw too much with the risk of getting taken down. Islam does a lot of his work from the clinch along the fence. He loves his trips to get his opponent down. Charles Oliveira, he's got good, fast, crisp punches. He is accurate. He will find that chin. He has good front kicks to the body. He's got nice knees and a very nice left hook. He's got pretty good volume on the feet. He doesn't have the best wrestling, but he does sometimes manage to get the fight to the ground, whether that's flopping to his back or getting the takedown. He is willing to fight off his back or even pull guard, which could be a problem against Islam. He has to have his sub defense in check. But Charles, he sets a very high pace, so Islam's cardio will be tested probably more so than any other fight that he's ever been in. Now, I know this is the time, this is the fight that everyone's been waiting for. Everyone's really looking forward to this fight. The prediction, Charles Oliveira.
Yes,
We got Charles will have a big advantage on the feet. The question obviously is, will Islam get the takedowns? Will he control Charles? I don't think Islam will ever get the sub. Oliveira, I'm gonna go KO. I don't think Islam offers anything on the feet. I don't think his chin is that great. Charles Oliveira hits hard. Charles Oliveira by KO. If you want to be a little safer, take inside the distance, under 4.5 rounds, whatever you want to play. Prediction, Charles Oliveira. Let's go.
let's go. I do agree with that bet, and I have him as well. And it's time to reveal our bets so far for UFC 280 Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev, which takes place on October 22nd, live from Abu Dhabi, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I love that start time. I don't got to stay up until fucking midnight to watch these fights.
Yeah, exactly. I love the early start times.
All right. So my first bet that I made for 2 units is Lucas Almeida straight up money line bet at plus 125. I do think that hits. I do think he's going to win the fight. My second bet that I placed, straight up money line bet, Belal Muhammad, I got him at plus 115. I also placed 2 units on him. And then I placed 2.5 units on my third bet so far for this card, Charles Oliveira at plus 145. I only have 3 bets so far, and they're all straight up money line bets. I know you can't believe it because I always do parlays. But believe it or not, I've got 3 underdog bets so far for this card. I might make some more bets as more lines come out for the over-unders and things like that. Do you have any bets?
I do. I have a 2-team parlay between Karol, Rosa, and Nikita Krylov. I got that at plus 121. I hit it for 1.5 units. I also took the underdog shot on Belal Muhammad for 1 unit at plus 131. And my last bet so far is Charles Oliveira. I got him for 1.5 units at plus 160.
Very, very nice. I wish you the best of luck on all those bets.
You as well.
I hope that you guys like this video, but don't go away. Stay tuned for our dog of the card and our locks of the card for UFC 280. We appreciate your support. Keep liking the video. Keep subscribing. Share us. Share CJP underscore UFC underscore bets with my dude Jason. Thank you so much and stay tuned for the end of the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is CJP UFC Bets with Jason, here to reveal our dog of the card. And you guys ready? Hope you're ready. All right. My dog of the card has to be my dude, Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. I got him at plus 145. I feel pretty confident, 90% that that's going to hit for me. I hope so because I put 2.5 units on him. Charles Oliveira, either by KO or submission. I probably bet the inside the distance for Charles Oliveira. And that is my dog of the card.
So, my dog of the card, I don't mean to be repetitive, but I have to go with Charles Oliveira. I can just see him winning everywhere. I think he gets the knockout, but Charles inside the distance is the play. If you guys want to hear something just slightly different, if I had to pick somebody else, I'm going with Belal Muhammad to be my, I guess, second dog of the card.
He was going to be my second dog of the card too, Belal Muhammad, for sure. I love him in that fight. I just think the wrestling is much better for him. He's a much better wrestler and a smarter fighter, in my opinion.
I agree.
All right, so that's our dogs of the card, Charles Oliveira and Belal Muhammad. Now stay tuned for the locks of the card. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is CJP UFC Bets with Jason. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and thank you so much for your support. We hope you enjoyed it. For UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev for the vacant UFC Lightweight Championship of the World. Here to reveal our locks of the card. My lock of the card, as I said in the beginning of the video, probably in the middle of the video somewhere, 95% sure that this fighter will win this fight. Probably even 99% sure because nothing is 100% in the UFC, right? So, 99% sure, my lock of the card will be Muhammad Mokaev just dominating that fight however he wants. And I have him in, I'm probably going to have him in a parlay pretty soon. What about you, man?
So my dog of the card is going to be Karol Rosa, sitting at minus 255. I think she is a good parlay piece. If you want to bet her by decision, I think it's a pretty safe bet. I just don't think Lina will have much to offer. Karol Rosa is my lock of the card.
Oh, and I apologize to mention, I didn't mention the odds for Makhachev. He's sitting at a minus 700.
Get that
So
value.
do with that what you please, but I do think that decently, easily hits for anyone that is willing to put him in their parlays. Next breakdown we will do will be for UFC Fight Night, Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen. That should be a banger. I can't wait for that fight. We will be dropping that episode on Sunday, October 23rd. Mark that on your calendars. Stay tuned for that. We wish you all the best of luck on all your bets. We hope you enjoy the fights for UFC 280 on Saturday next week. Jason, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining me, man. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on. I love doing the show. It's always a good time. Let's cash these bets.
Yes, sir. Let's go 15-0. Subscribe to the video, like the video, and thanks so much for joining us right here for CJP UFC Bets with Jason. Thanks, guys.